All right, part 2. Because that take that Gen Z doesn't want to work is just wrong. It's completely wrong. And it completely ignores how Gen Z has changed the rules of the workplace. Gen Z didn't kill work ethic. Gen Z killed pointless suffering, unpaid overtime, toxic managers, and the fake office politics. Gen Z said, yeah, we ain't doing all that. Double it and pass it to the next person. Those who don't know me, I'm Ibrahim and I've worked in the corporate space for the last 5 years, and I like to give people insight on how to maneuver and be successful in the corporate world. In my honest opinion, I think the older generations hate it because they had to endure it. Older generations think struggle equals professionalism, whereas Gen Z thinks efficiency equals professionalism. And if we're being honest, Gen Z is winning. Gen Z values results, not theatrics. They don't need to sit in office for 9 hours to prove that they're being productive, because if we're being totally honest, if we can all get our jobs done within 4 hours, why are you keeping me hostage for another 5 more? Gen Z knows their worth. They negotiate, they job hop, and they refuse lowball offers. And it's not because they're entitled, it's because they know that the economy doesn't reward loyalty like it used to. And older generations will see this as disrespect, but in reality, it's just survival. Cost of living is higher, wages have stagnated, and house prices are absolutely ridiculous. So in reality, Gen Z is not complaining, they're simply adapting. And here's the real twist. Companies are starting to change because of Gen Z. More flexibility, more transparency, more fair pay, and more mental health support. So no, Gen Z isn't running from work, they're simply redesigning it. And honestly, it's about time. So what do you think Gen Z has changed for the better? Drop it in the comments. I want to see your takes.
What's going on, y'all? What's going on, my people out there, man? Appreciate y'all for clicking on this video, man. It's Byron sharing with y'all my millionaire mindset, man. Shout out to this brother. I want to shout out to the UK as well, man, right here in the United States, man. Shout out to y'all, man. I want to get into this video, man, and speak on the current common thing when it comes to millennials and the baby boomers and other older generations. They seem to think that Gen Z is lazy and don't want to work, don't want to get a 9-to-5 job and grind it out, and you know what I mean? But that's not true, man. Gen Z, we operate differently than the millennials and the baby boomers and the other generations, you know what I mean? We do things differently, you know what I mean? The way they've done things back in the day is completely different from the times we're in today. Completely different from modern times. Like back then, having a job meant having more security, more stability when it comes to those times back in the day. Just working any job, a 9-to-5, any 9-to-5 regular job was security. It was stability back then. But nowadays, it's not so much stability because the loyalty, like when this brother was saying in the video, Gen Z understands like there's no real loyalty, there's no real stability, security in these low vibrational, these low income, these just low wage jobs, man. Like, come on now, like, and we grew up, a lot of people, a lot of Gen Z young people grew up around family members and people telling them and convincing them that these 9-to-5s were a way to go when it comes to having a good life, you know what I mean, a stable life. But it was only something we could use to get us to that next step in life, you know what I mean? Get us to that next thing, you know what I mean? For me, it was always a stepping stone that helped me out on other things that I was doing, as far as being able to invest in myself, making that income to invest in myself in other things, you know what I mean? Especially when I was in college, I was still working jobs. I was still using that income to help me out when it comes to purchasing or being able to do things in that part of life. By me being in college, you know what I mean, away from home and stuff like that. Like, I've always had me a 9-to-5 job that I use as a stepping stone in order to do things that I need to do to maneuver and move forward in my early life. You know what I mean, my early 20s, my late teens, you know. But we are in a time where the value of the dollar bill is not where it used to be back then in the late 90s, maybe the early 80s or the early 2000s. the value of the dollar is currently decreasing. And Gen Z is fed up with the old way of doing things, the old way of thinking. It's that new world mindset, not even a new world mindset, it's just that new way of thinking, of doing things, of being strategic, being calculated. That's gonna push this new generation ahead. Not even just Gen Z, but Gen Alpha as well. Because there's been a lot of backlash about Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Because we can't be compared to those other generations. Because we are in a different time. They say the greatest wealth transfer is happening right in front of our faces in this period of time. And you don't want to be somebody stuck on those old ways of doing things. Yeah, you want to have an outlook on things, and you definitely want to use those tools and those things and those resources and those opportunities to help push you forward, but you don't want to depend on those things, on those old ways. Because while they're stuck in the old world, Gen Z and Gen Alpha is preparing themselves for what's happening now, leading us into the future. You know what I mean? AI's picking up, AI's taking people's jobs, man. People are losing their jobs. People are losing their careers left and right. Gen Z and Gen Alpha is taking notes. We taking heed when we paying attention. We learning new skills. We learning new languages. We learning AI. We trying to work with this new advancement of technology. You know what I mean? Because it's taking over. And soon, most opportunities, most job and career opportunities are going to depend on your skill set when it comes to how good are you with technology and this new advancement of it. You know what I mean? Gen Z is paying attention to that. We're learning to adjust and adapt to this new age of doing things. You know what I mean? People used to walk to the grocery store. People used to walk to catch the bus stops. Now people are getting Uber, Lyfts, things of that nature. Like, things have changed and shifted over the course of these last few decades, and Gen Z has been paying attention. Unlike the older generations judging and not trying to get with the times or adjust to the times, you know what I mean? They stuck just completely giving their whole attention to a 9-to-5 job. Meanwhile, that little company might have 2 or 3 years left to produce or be productive at, like it's been the last year, last couple decades, or as long as it's been up and running. Like, you never know what can happen to a company overnight. You know what I mean? Breaking news can hit the media just like that, and thousands of people are out of their jobs. So you always want to be enlightened. You always want to have insight on what's going on with the current times, what's happening, what's new, what's starting to develop, what's changing everything. And that's what Gen Z is doing. That's what Gen Alpha is doing. We're not lazy. We're just focused. We're committed, and we are progress driven. We have to see the results. And that's ultimately is how we're holding ourselves accountable in 2026, going into 2027. But I appreciate y'all, man, for staying tuned in this video, man. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell, man, so you know when more videos are dropping. It's Byron sharing with y'all my millionaire mindset, man. I'll see y'all in that next video. Peace.